even
gave
had.
me
So
a
she
preconceived
right.
notion about a man that I haven't even touched
And now
yet.
she's growing up with that energy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And every time her mom sees it, it's confirmation bias.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, baby, these men gonna do you all kinds of wrong. Even if a man is doing well, I've heard women literally say, it don't matter how much money he got, you make sure you get your own.
Yep.
Because you can't depend on no man to take care of you, girl. So she hearing that.
Yeah.
So even if the man is doing his very best, he's doing well, he's taking care of the
That's
bills,
so true.
she's still like, I ain't trusting this nigga.
Yeah.
Why she can't trust him? Because that's what her mama told her.
Yeah.
You got to get your own.
Yeah.
Because you can't believe in what these, don't depend on no man to take care of you, girl.
Yeah.
And mama had a real bad experience. Mama put her best into a man.
Yep.
20, 30 years behind this man. He had another family in Tennessee. He got another family over here. He abused mama sometimes. So mama, when she finally turned 55, she got up the courage to leave him. Now all she telling her daughter is, don't you depend on
But
no
she's
man.
taking her brokenness with her.
Exactly.
Pushing it off
Come
on
on.
people, so they'll never be able
Come
to
on.
submit, even if they tried. They
Amen.
wouldn't even know what to do.
Amen.
Because and that's the thing. Submission comes with emotional health. If you realize most people who submit are emotionally healthy because they trust you.
Right.
They hold.
Right.
They're not worried about what you got going on.
Right.
I trust you. You trust me. We love each other. That it's emotional health there. And I think in our community, we are not taught to be emotionally healthy. We get with people broken from childhood traumas, and then we try to push it off and say we're submitting, but we're not.
Right.
We're not. As a woman, I can say, like I told you before, I came from very dominant women. Very dominant women. We were taught to love and respect our husband, but we were also taught, like you said, no, you're going to have your own.
Yeah.
You're going to have a savings account.
Yeah.
You're going to do this. And so I find myself, not even on purpose, telling my daughter, like, like you going to learn how to do this. She's 3. Mm-hmm. So I'm automatically pushing something off on her that she has no idea about right now.
Right.
And it's a cycle, and it's a cycle, it's
So
a
true.
cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And we come from strong men, but I realize the women in our family, they more of the, we got to be in front. And that's not even how it's created.
Right.
That's not even how we're created. I'm not created to lead you. You created to lead me.
Right.
And I think for me, my biggest issue right now is that when I'm willing to let people lead, I feel like it's a fear there. And it was a fear there long before
Right.
you were even known to be my leader.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I think that for me, and especially in the black community, we have an issue with allowing roles to be what they are.
Right.
We always want to recreate a role that doesn't need anything else other than what it is. And I'm not talking about household roles or who works or who doesn't. I'm talking about the role of a husband and a wife. You lead me, I lead them, we good.
So what does it mean to you for a woman to actually lead, for a man to actually lead the woman? Like, we say lead. I feel like lead is sometimes, like, I don't think everybody actually understands that term.
My biggest thing is protection and security.
Right, so that's true. So I believe that happens. But I believe that if those two things aren't met, what we begin to see then is a woman leading in all areas of the relationship. Like, even if it comes to disciplining the kids, like, he may be like, y'all sit down. No, I told them they can run around. Y'all go ahead and do what y'all
That's a flaw of
I've
mine.
seen it. I agree. No doubt.
That's a flaw of mine.
Oh, it's a flaw of yours.
Of mine. Because for me... See,
okay, well, I appreciate the honesty.
Oh, you're going to get 100% honesty. You're going to get 100% honesty. And this is what I do, though. I find myself emotionally crippling my son. We talked about this last week with Ken. I found myself emotionally crippling my son because I feel like his dad was being too tough on him. And so his dad looked at me one day and said, he will not be one of these bum niggas that we see around here. Like, that's what he said to me. He was like, he will not do it.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it's like, okay, so you want him to be, he could be financially well off. He could be a hard worker, but he's going to be emotionally broken. So where's the balance? But it's a power struggle where he's saying, no, you're not going to be soft. And it's like, no, you're going to be able to articulate exactly how you feel, too. So for me, I think I kind of, it's a saying that says, mothers love their sons and raise their daughters. I raise my daughter. Because with her, I'm tough on her. She's 3. No, you don't do that. Girls don't do that. But with my son, it's like, okay, I understand how he feels. You get what I'm saying? So it's like I'm emotionally crippling him without doing it on purpose.
Well, I think I think that's where balance exists. So you are not the sole parent. So regardless of how moms typically are going to be soft on their sons when there's a dad at home. But when there is no dad at home and she's the only one being soft on him, there's nobody teaching him when he should be tough and when he should step up, then yeah, you could completely emotionally cripple him. And then when he becomes a man, he doesn't have any desire to step up. But I believe that's why mom and the dad are so important. I believe both worlds are equally necessary in a family. If it's just the dad, kids grow up a little rough around the edges. They ain't never had a mother's love like they should. Or if the mom wasn't loving. I've seen a lot of men grow up and they have no affection. Especially towards women. They just don't have any connection to them. They want to be done with them. So I believe a father should be tough, but he shouldn't also make his son feel like he can't have any emotions. And I got a poem about that called Cry King, where I always talk about that. Like, allow boys to feel like it's okay to cry. Because sometimes we raise our boys to believe that if a tear comes out your eyes, that somehow makes you weak as a man. But that's not weakness. And there's a line in there where I say, my brothers will swear they love Jesus, but they won't imitate his weeping. Like God is a weakling, right? And so that's what a lot of people think. Like, oh, well, if you cry, that shows that you're weak. Even at a funeral, people are like, no, you got to stay strong. Be strong. You a man. That's crazy.
Where does that come from?
It comes from the ego. The ego of men. It's ridiculous. So that conditioning has to get people. We got to get out of that. We got to realize we've been so conditioned as human beings that a strong man means he has no emotion. That's not what makes him strong. That makes him oppressive. It makes he got a lot inside of him. He probably needs to let out.
And he's going to busting you upside your head.
Right, exactly. He ain't got no emotions, but he got an hard left. You know what I mean? So you gotta, something's got to give, right? And so our boys have to be taught that it's okay to have emotions. And it's okay to lead. But I believe that's where the problem with submission comes in at. So I think that it all comes back full circle. One of the things we have to understand is that submission should not feel like oppression. And the words are interlinked sometimes. If I submit to him, that means I give up all my rights.
On control.
Right. So it's now he tell me what to do. I'm one of the kids. Yeah, daddy's. I even hear women calling him man. That's daddy. But he really not your daddy. Now, I understand if you're going to call him affectionately, that's daddy. But don't be like, well, daddy told me no, I can't do. No, you're a human being still. You know what I mean? But on the other side of that, it's important that men don't allow this thinking of submission to get to the ego. Because sometimes it feels good. Now, we got to be real about that. It feels good to be the head nigga in charge. When everybody listens to you, that's a good thing, but you got to keep your ego in check. Because then that doesn't mean that she doesn't, if you like blue and she like purple curtains, you take the purple ones down, I want the blue. I'm the head of the house. It's get yourself together. First of all, why are you so impassioned about these curtains? Right?
That you're not even going to look at.
You don't even care. Well, I'm the head, and I remember when I was first married, it was tough for me in the beginning. I used to always try to say that to my wife, I'm the head. But that's because I didn't feel good enough about myself as a man. Right? I was very weak as a man, deep down. So outside, I was carrying all this energy about how tough I was and who's supposed to listen to me. And when I went through my own healing, right, and when I started to understanding what it meant to be a man, coming to grips with the emotional side of myself, and realizing that allowing myself to cry, allowing myself to feel, allowing myself to hear my wife was not weakness, right? That's powerful. And most times, I'm going to just be super real. Women normally have the right answers. And brothers, man, when we don't learn how to listen to women, it always tends to bite us in the butt. I think it's one of my favorite scriptures I always read, where Abraham was told, listen to your wife. Listen to her. Listen to her. Because women normally know the direction to go in. But we feel like, well, if I listen to her, that means that I ain't leading. No. If I'm driving a car, right? And my wife tell me to turn left, and I say, well, I'm driving this damn car. And I turn right into the woods, now I look like an idiot. What's she supposed to say? Was she supposed to just sit there and be like, all right, let him turn right?
And that's where the help me comes in. You know what I mean? We're supposed to help.
Amen.
We see stuff y'all don't see. And I think men feel like with women, we just feel like we're know-it-alls. When most of the time, when we're out, for me, when I open my mouth, if I'm wrong, I'm just not learning how to do this. I think I might just broke the girl code. I'm starting to apologize. If I'm wrong...
Hold on. Whoa. Just want to have a moment of silence for all the women who have learned to apologize. If we could just give ourselves we couldn't have a moment of silence.
Not just to my husband, but to people in general. If I'm
you don't apologize to him, though?
Oh, no, I definitely apologize
to him. I just want to make sure.
Just to people in general. I say I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's a pride thing. But I feel like 90% of the time when I open my mouth to my husband, I say, hey, I'm not feeling this person right here. And it's not even a woman. It's just I picked up something about a homeboy. So I'm like, I'm not really feeling this person. You just don't like nobody. I'm like, no, I'm not feeling this person right here. And he come back and he don't never tell me the complete story. His best friend tell me yeah, you tell her about the one dude who did you. You get what I'm saying?
And that's what you had warned him about.
And that's what I had warned about. And I feel like another thing about submission is if I submit to you, that means I'm connected to you in a way that you don't even know. So I feel when something is off with you. You know what I mean? Submission is a connection. And I feel like we don't connect with our spouses because we come into marriage or a relationship thinking about they were about to control us.
Yeah.
We're always taught, submit to our husbands, do whatever you say. Sleep with that man if you want you to. Even if you're tired, do this. We're taught so many negative things about it that we're never taught the positive things. Ever.
But that goes both ways, though. Because even though the scripture does say don't be depriving your husband, it also tells husbands don't be depriving your wives. Right? But like a lot of times, again, I believe because submission, like we're in a male-dominated society. So the people who run the churches, the people who, basically give all the advice tend to be the people who it's in favor of. It's the man. And so it's like she got to be doing X, Y, and Z. But truthfully, that should go both ways.
Yeah.
Right? Like daily, a man should not be like, hey, I get to go home and be the big bad wolf. Everything I say go. If he's not listening to his wife, if he's not leveraging her opinion, getting her insight on matters, that's not working anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
And no matter how great she is at submitting, he's abusing his family.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So he's a horrible head. So then the question becomes, how long should she endure a horrible head?
How long should either one of them endure?
Because that's
women,
a good question.
Because women, we abuse it too. We will get a good man, see him doing all the stuff he's doing. Right now, girls are crazy about a man with money. And I feel like I don't think they realize that some people get with a man when they have nothing and they love him to the point to where they can feel like they can do anything. You know what I mean? But I feel like, oh, he ain't got no money. And I'm like, but you have a high school diploma. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have anything else to bring to his table either. Right. So I feel like we come with our set of baggage too, but we always place it on men.
Right.
For me, I was never a materialistic person. I never grew up with a lot of things. So that wasn't what I looked for. Right. But I always looked for a hard worker, whatever you did. But I realized that where I'm at right now, I realized that even if he wasn't a hard worker, that's still a plus for me. It was things that I needed and need that I feel like I didn't get right away. And for that's why I felt like I took away some form of submission, because I felt like, well, you're not giving it to me. And that was abusive too. You know what I mean? Because I never voiced it that you weren't giving me that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, when we feel like you guys are mind readers and you're supposed to just give us everything we want, and that's not the truth. So one
of our listeners says it's all about respect, period. He has to respect her and she has to respect him. That's all it comes down to. So I agree with that. I think that's a good point.
Respect is
I think
a big thing.
A lot of people have to, right. And I think because the scriptures don't really talk about a man respecting a woman.
Nope.
So
men love respect.
Right.
Yeah.
It says husbands love your wives. Women respect your husbands. And so when they hear the word respect, I was like, oh, so I don't have to love him.
Yeah.
I just got to respect him. And he don't have to respect me. He just got to love me. But the words are the same, right? It's in it. If you look at 1 Corinthians 13, 8 through 13, if I'm not mistaken, don't hold this against me. But it says love, and it breaks it all down, right? Love is kind, it does not brag, does not get puffed up, does not behave indecently, it believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things, right? And so that being the case, if you look at love, it encompasses respect, right? It believes all things, it hopes all things, right? It does not behave indecently, it does not keep account of the injury. And when we talk about love inside of a relationship, a lot of people want to barter what their jobs are. Well, don't tell me I'm supposed to respect you. So that means that you could just disrespect her? Because that's the opposite of respect. So I can disrespect her and still be okay with God. And she cannot love me as long as she respects me. So she can treat me just like her boss. But that doesn't make any sense. Then at that point, it's no longer a marriage.
And I don't understand why you want to be in that.
Who would? Exactly. That's ridiculous. So I totally agree with that. I think that the way to really, truly, have a free-flowing relationship is that both people are allowing themselves to be loved and respected. And people are trying to, obviously extend that to the extent possible. If she has a concern, I talked about this earlier, and she brings it to you. Hey, babe, when you do X, Y, and Z, I don't like it. A man who loves and respects his wife is going to be like, okay, let's sit and talk about it. You mentioned that your husband wasn't you may have had an issue with taking the lead on some things. So eventually you just started to do it. But the point you said that wasn't fair was perhaps you could have done a better job of communicating. So you're right. That's not fair. And sometimes I think that we take what we don't like in our relationship, and some men have women who don't submit. I've seen it. I know women who basically, it don't matter what the husband say, they'll disrespect him in front of anybody, say what they want to say in front of anybody, take the lead whenever, even if he's there. And I've seen men just get quiet, don't say nothing, and follow behind her.
That's weird to me.
It's weird, but it's real. And sometimes we be checking the man oh, he ain't no real man. Well, maybe he tried to